So yesterday was about the first day I've left this apartment, probably in about the last week. I've been sick as a dog. I'm finally feeling a little bit better, but I definitely had some running around I had to do yesterday, the most important of which was getting to the P.O. box to check the mail. I was expecting some things to come, especially these new lights that we now have, and also I knew there was a pretty good chance there would be fan mail there as well. But the only way that I was able to leave yesterday and actually get to the post office was by taking an Uber. And I'm not really sure if you guys have ever seen the older video here on After Prison Show called Uber Russian Roulette, but I really have some strong opinions about Uber, especially when it comes to the actual Uber drivers. I've used Uber now probably for like over a year. I've probably taken like at least 100 Uber rides, and throughout all of these rides and all of these times that I've used this service, I have to assure you that I have definitely met some pretty crazy fucking drivers. Yesterday, of course, being no exception to that, I had this older gentleman as a driver, overall a really nice guy, but this guy's driving was some of the worst that I have ever experienced since being home from prison. In fact, on the way to the post office, this guy literally swerved so hard in the middle of a busy road. Mind you, we were in a minivan when this guy cut the wheel. The entire minivan almost fishtailed right there in the middle of this busy road. It was almost like, this happened so fast, I'm looking to see what the hell this guy was actually swerving for. There was nothing there. I was almost under the impression that this guy was like literally seeing things. What the hell was that all about? The only reason that I'm mentioning any of this in this video is because of the simple fact that when this guy swerved in the middle of this busy road in a minivan that almost completely fishtailed and spun out right there in the middle of rush hour traffic, not only did I fear for my absolute life and almost see my life flash before my eyes at that very moment, but this brought back a very vivid memory of a time when I was 17 years old and I almost died in a car accident that pretty much started out the same exact way this incident yesterday did. Now, this is a story that I've wanted to tell here for a while on After Prison Show. This is certainly one of my before prison stories, and this story actually takes place at a time in my life when I was just beginning to really dive into my entire life of fucking bad shit. Matter of fact, this car accident at the age of 17 that I got in that almost killed me probably in some crazy way played a part in the fact that my life from there basically just went completely down the fucking toilet. Now, you would also think that being in a car accident that almost kills you at no matter what age in your life, this would be something that would be like an eye-opening experience. It might even cause you to value life just a little bit more. But for whatever reason, possibly this had the opposite effect on me. And this story begins with me and my girlfriend at the time sitting in a mall parking lot. I think we were having an argument. We were sitting in the car in the mall parking lot basically arguing over who the fuck knows. Whatever 17-year-olds in a relationship argue about. Oh my God, that zit on your face. Why is that there? I mean, I really don't know. And I'm quite sure it was something a little more serious and definitely, at least to me at the time, way more dramatic. Because the next thing that happened after we had gotten in this argument was the fact that I basically told her, I'm about to take you home. We were in my car. This was the very first car that I ever had in my life. In fact, I think I've only had something like 3 vehicles in my entire life. I'm 34 years old, I think. 34 years old and I've only had 3 cars. Pretty sad, actually. But this car that we were in, again, it was my very first car, and this was a 1987 Nissan Maxima. And for those of you who don't know what a 1987 Nissan Maxima looks like, well then, voila! This is a 1987 Nissan Maxima, the old box-shaped Maxima here. And to be completely honest with you, I loved this car. It was a 5-speed manual, the little stick shift, way too fast for the likes of me at 17 years old. Especially considering what the fuck I did next. After being in this argument with my girlfriend at the mall and telling her, I'm taking you home, I pulled out onto the main road, kind of eerily similar to yesterday. It was rush hour on a very busy road, not the same road, but a very busy road nonetheless, and I absolutely floored it. and we are flying. The speed limit on this road, I think, was like 40, 45 miles an hour. I'm going every bit of 70, 75 miles an hour, weaving in and out of traffic, just trying to hurry up and get this girl home. Really, there's no way I can justify why I was going as fast as I was. It was absolutely idiotic, and I am so very fortunate for the fact that I didn't kill anyone else or even myself in this accident. But as I am flying down this road with a speed limit of 40 or 45 miles an hour, and I am going 70 or 75 miles an hour, weaving in and out of traffic, well, this one very last time that I tried to weave, I lost control of the car. This car just began to spin. This car is literally like doing a 360 in the middle of rush hour traffic on this busy road. I cannot emphasize enough to you when I say how very real it was that everything just began to happen in slow motion. I am literally watching this car spin through the passenger side window. We are now in oncoming traffic. I'm looking past this girlfriend of mine who is sitting in the passenger seat through her window. We are spun completely sideways, looking at oncoming traffic coming toward us as this car just continues to spin. And the only thing that I can possibly hope for as this is happening is that this car is going to completely spin all the way around, and that if we do get hit, we get hit in the back of the car, which possibly could be the best case scenario. And as we're spinning, I'm watching through her window as this pickup truck is coming right at us. The next thing I know, the car has turned completely the fuck around, and I don't even remember the impact. In fact, the next thing that I knew, I was not in the car anymore, and I was actually tumbling. All I could feel was my body just tumbling. I had no idea what the fuck was going on. I didn't even know if I was alive or if I was dead. If this was something that happens to you when you die, I had no idea why I was tumbling. But as soon as I got done tumbling, I immediately jumped up to my feet, looked down, noticed that I had one shoe on. That was the first thing that I noticed. Noticed also that my arms were both completely covered in blood. Could not help but to notice the absolute pungent smell of burnt up tires and clutch. And as I looked up, I noticed that I was standing in the middle of the damn road. All of this rush hour traffic that was flying in either direction prior to this accident was completely stopped. As I stood there in the middle of the road, I swear to you, it just felt like time was absolutely standing still. I couldn't even comprehend yet what had happened, and then it came to me. We had obviously gotten in an accident, been hit by some other vehicle, and during that impact, somehow I ended up outside of the car, tumbling in the road with one shoe getting knocked off of my foot. Once I came to this realization, the next thing that I did was try to locate where the fuck this Nissan Maxima was at. And then I saw it. That 1987 box style Nissan Maxima was sitting in a field between a green utility box and a telephone pole. Literally, this car was in between both of those two things. And I had no idea if that girlfriend who was with me at the time, if she was okay or not. I immediately started walking toward my car that was sitting in that field between that green utility box and that telephone pole. And the next thing I know, as I'm walking to this car, here comes this girlfriend of mine crawling up through the sunroof, screaming and crying. She looks at me and she just says, "Oh my God, look at you. Are you okay?" The only thing that I could say in response to that was, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" "I'm okay, but look at you. Are you okay?" Seeing then that she was in fact okay, I then had a moment to actually analyze myself, I guess. And this entire time, I have to tell you again, one shoe was off of my foot, my arms were covered in blood, and I was just feeling like I was sweating. It just felt like my face was sweating. So when she said to me, "Are you okay?" I literally took my hand and wiped it across my eye like this. And when I brought my hand down and looked at it, it was just covered in more blood. And the only thing I could say in response to what she had just asked me was, "No." boom! I fell out right there in the street. There was so much adrenaline pumping through my body from what had just happened to me, and I was in so much shock. The next thing I know, people were running up to me talking about, don't move your head, don't move your neck, you might have broken your neck. Well, I was just walking, so I'm pretty sure I didn't break my neck. But as these people are rushing and gathering around me and trying to make sure I'm okay, I keep asking, was anyone else hurt? Was anyone else hurt in this accident? And one of the people who rushed up to help me was actually the person who hit me. The car that had run into the back of my car was a Chevy S10 pickup truck. The guy who hit me had just bought this truck brand new 2 days prior to this accident, and his truck was completely fucking totaled from my stupidity. The ambulance came, rushed me and the girlfriend of mine at the time to the hospital. They couldn't even take me to the hospital that was in that city. They had to take me to a hospital that was 2 cities away because that was the trauma unit, and obviously I was dealing with some major head trauma. I can remember specifically as they were calling it into the hospital, they said something about we were coming from a car accident. It was a 2-door sedan that was involved in an accident. I don't even know why they said this, but all I can remember is that girlfriend of mine at the time screaming at these paramedics saying, the car had 4 doors. And the paramedics were just like, what? Holy shit. I had no idea what any of this meant at the time, and nor could I even pay any mind to this because of the fact that as soon as we got to the hospital, they were rushing me in to do emergency CAT scans and all sorts of things to find out if I had internal bleeding. I will never forget the doctor literally saying to me, son, if you have internal bleeding, there is a good possibility you could die. The doctor is asking me if there is any type of a preacher I want him to call. I mean, this is fucking insanity to hear at 17 years old. They called my parents, they called her parents, and when they called her parents, hospital officials told them, your daughter has been involved in a serious motor vehicle accident and she has possible life-threatening injuries that could kill her. When they called my parents, they told them, your son has been involved in a motor vehicle accident, but he's okay. Yeah, for some reason the hospital officials completely mixed up who was injured in this accident and just how badly they were injured. I went through so much crazy shit while in this hospital, CAT scans, x-rays, and once these tests were completed and they found out that I didn't have any type of internal bleeding, hell, I didn't even break a bone in this accident, was a concussion, some head trauma, and also severe lacerations over a good majority of my body. Once I was stabilized and sitting in this hospital bed, my parents were in there, they were talking to me, they were just happy that I was alive. Then next came in the police. And the police came right up to this hospital bed as I'm laying in it and actually served me a bunch of charges. Reckless driving, speeding, not wearing a seatbelt, a whole bunch of charges. I'm pretty sure there was a few more too, I just can't really remember what they were. And I'll never forget asking the cop, I said, how in the hell are you charging me with speeding when you didn't even see the accident? And the cop looked at me and he said, son, we know you were speeding based solely off the length of the skid marks that are left in the middle of that road. There's over 200 feet of skid marks in that road, which lets us know that you were going somewhere in the wheelhouse of around 75 miles an hour. I didn't know you could gauge speeding from skid marks, but it made perfect sense to me hearing this. And then the seatbelt charge was just like a slap in the face. I honestly thought to myself, had I been wearing this seatbelt, I could have possibly been killed. I was released from the hospital that very same night. My head was swollen out to here. I could literally take my finger, stick my finger into my skull, and sink it down about that far before I actually touched my actual skull. That's how swollen my head was. Both of my eyes were completely bloodshot. I had busted every single blood vessel in my eye. I had something that was protruding out of my fucking arm right here. And whatever this was stayed in my arm for like 2 or 3 months. Every time I hit it, it absolutely sent a shockwave throughout my entire body. And what a doctor actually tried to tell me this was an exposed nerve ending that had just been swollen and would possibly just go away over time. Whatever this was actually got so bad that I literally took a razor blade and sliced right through my arm, peeled the skin back right there, and was able to see a piece of windshield glass that was stuck right there in my arm. I basically did surgery on myself to remove that piece of windshield glass. But the next day after being released from the hospital, we actually went and looked at this car. I swear to God, I wish I had the pictures of this. I know there were pictures at some point, but throughout time, I'm sure they were lost or thrown away or whatever. But when I saw this car, this was the most horrifying thing that I had ever seen in my life. This 4-door box-style Nissan Maxima got hit right around the trunk section on the driver's side, and it literally crushed the trunk into the back seats and crushed the back seats into the front seat. And me being 6'4", as I'm driving this car, my seat sits back pretty far. Well, when that car basically got soda can crushed into the back of my front seat, and that shit hit my front seat, it literally, boom, catapulted me straight up into the air. And what I went through was the sunroof. But here's the crazy thing about it. The sunroof was closed. The glass on the sunroof was closed, and the material part of the sunroof was closed as well. I went through all of that shit. When I was ejected out of the car, I was knocked out immediately upon hitting that sunroof. For whatever reason, I woke up as I was tumbling on the ground, and that's where everything happened from there. What's also crazy about this situation is that one of my mom's friends, for whatever reason, was on this same road at the very same time and actually saw this accident take place. She would later tell my mom that she saw me get ejected through this sunroof, and when I came flying out of that car, she told my mom I looked like I was just a dead body flying through the air. I'm not sure how far I actually flew away from the car, but I can tell you this. I stopped tumbling in the middle of the road, and the car was way the fuck over there somewhere in the middle of a field. How the fuck I actually lived to survive that is something that I still think about all the time. And dealing with this crazy Uber driver yesterday who basically swerved for no damn reason kind of brought all of this back to me. I've decided to tell you this story for one pretty simple reason, and that is life is absolutely precious. I have lost so many friends, family members, hell, Skipper. People just die. Whether it's from drug overdoses, car accidents, suicides, acts of violence, whatever the case may be. Life is fucking precious. So make sure that every day you're doing all you can to make the most of yours. I think that's some pretty good advice. Hey, look, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did so, please leave a like and a comment and let me know exactly what you think about all of this. As always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted, and make the most of every day. Peace!